My name is Martin Sanders and welcome along to the Football Martin channel for the final word on Southampton's game from the weekend against Arsenal at the Emirates Stadium. I'm going to reflect on the game and I'm going to give some player ratings as well from the game against Arsenal. We're going to pull out the positives, but we're also going to take a little look at the negatives as well. And I want you guys to get involved in the comments box below and give me your thoughts on what needs to change the other side of the international break as we enter the second international break of this Premier League season. Southampton are still without a win this season, 7 games in with the 1 point on the board. I don't think any of us expected anything at Arsenal this weekend just gone, but the one thing we did get was a performance after getting rolled over and our bellies tickled against Bournemouth down at the Vitality Stadium. The boys definitely put a performance in and they played for the manager at the Emirates Stadium. And that was my biggest concern going into it. Were the players going to play for the manager? Because I felt a lot of them down tools down at Bournemouth on Monday night. Team news. Let's look at that team news as we arrived at the Emirates. The team news was breaking and I was very interested to see a curveball thrown in. And I had a feeling that somebody would come in out of the cold. I actually thought it was going to be Paul Onuachu actually, but Ryan Manning comes in out of the cold, not played a game this season and not really featured on the bench neither. But he came in and started at left back. Give me your thoughts in the comments box below. How did Ryan Manning perform? Because I thought actually, though he tired in the game, which was expected because he's not played any football, he was probably faultless in the game. I thought he played really well. And the double up with Kyle Walker-Peters, who come back in on Saka, they doubled up on him. And they did a really good job. And they kept him at bay that first half. The back four is expected. Obviously, Yuki Sugawara kept his place at right back, though he didn't have a greatest game down at Bournemouth, but nobody did. The midfield three was good. I was really happy to see Joe Aribo come back in for Leslie Ugochukwu. He performed really well against Bournemouth in the second half, and he was one of the only players to come out of it with any real pride actually down at Bournemouth. And I was pleased to see him in midfield with Flynn Downs. And they're always good together, those two. Dibbling off the right was absolutely magnificent. I love him in our side right now. And then I think Ryan Fraser would have started over Kyle Walker-Peters, but obviously Kyle Walker-Peters doubling up on that left-hand side. And that left Ross Stewart, who makes his first Premier League start. And the big question going into it, was he ready for Premier League football? Was he physically fit and ready? And it turned out that he got injured after 23 minutes when he got substituted. It was a tough one for Ross Stewart, and there's a big gap between playing League One football, played a little bit of Championship football, 2 years out, and then he's in the Premier League. And it is a massive ask to go and play in the Premier League, and he's found it tough when he's come on, but he's showed glimpses of a really good player, but it is a big step up, and I think it's a big step up for your body as well, and that's why the managers maybe protected a few of the players coming back from injury. Certainly with Tyler, they looked after him early doors, but they've realised that he's such a good player. You've got to play him, but you're looking after people's bodies, and are they ready for this level of football? It's a big step up. So let's have a look through how the players rated and talk about the game, and I want you guys to get involved in that comments box below. I'll break down the statistics from the game and pop them on your screen first and foremost. So let's look at the expected goals, because obviously Arsenal had the majority of the possession in the game of 59% compared to Southampton's 41%, but their expected goals were 2.32, Southampton just with 0.85. The goal attempts were obviously outweighed by Arsenal, 29 goal attempts compared to Southampton's 8. Shots on goal, just the 2 from Southampton. That was the effort from Dibbling that hit the post, and obviously Cameron Archer with the goal as well. Shots off goal, Southampton 4, Arsenal 13. Block shots 10-2. Free kicks, we had 12 free kicks compared to the 9 of Arsenal. Then you look at the throw-ins, they had 21 compared to R7. And Aaron Ramsdale with the 3 saves compared to David Raya with the 1. I think the 1 save that he made was from Tyler Dibbling, that effort, which I'm pretty sure he tipped that onto the post. Then you look at the total passes, they're outweighed. They had so many more passes than we did. And they were always going to, because they just peppered us in our own box for a long period of time. And then the tackles, 15 of theirs compared to the 15 of ours compared to the 15 of theirs. So it was level each. But yeah, that's the statistics from the game. And yeah, get involved. Give me your thoughts on that in the comments box below. In a minute, I'll take a look and we'll look at some player ratings from the game as well. When I pull the game apart a bit and I reflect on it and I look back on the performance, I thought first half we dug in and done really well, and that you can't fault the players for the way they dug in and kept Arsenal at bay. They were a good side, but Arsenal didn't get out of second gear. Not really. They just purred along, they kept the ball and they kept moving it side to side, and they just probed and they probed. But they didn't really test Aaron Ramsdale to the end of that first half, when there was an effort in front of us in the away fans, in that corner, when they did test. I think it was Havertz was involved, and he makes a really good save, Aaron Ramsdale. I can't remember who it was from, but he makes a decent double save, really. We go in at half-time 0-0, and then come out of the second half, and it was all down to Southampton why the game opened up, because Saints had a bit of a go. They had a bit about them, and Joe Aribo, I thought, really grew into the game at the weekend. I thought he really grew in, and he started to sort of get forward a bit more. He got box to box more, and Archer started to sort of work the channel a bit more, certainly that left side. And I actually think he can play left side, Cameron Archer, if Russell Martin wanted to, because it's a big issue, left side. Get involved in the comments box below. I think you will all agree with me as well. We do have an issue of who is going to play on that left side. I think Tyler's now down the right side, and Tyler needs to play off that right-hand side, in my opinion now. Not as a number 9, he needs to play off that right-hand side, and it suits him. Downs and in midfield with Aribo. I'd love to see Lallana as the other player to play in there, though he didn't get any game time again the weekend. Obviously managing minutes ahead of the games the other side of the international break. But I still, if you're a professional footballer, surely could he have not played a bit of a part unless he's injured? I don't know. But I would love to see Lallana in that midfield. I think the midfield's got a bit about it. Mateus Fernandes is that other option in there. Well, I think he's a dead starter, Mateus Fernandes. He was one of our best players Saturday. We'll do the player ratings in a minute. But they have opportunities in the final third to really start to open teams up with Fernandes, Aribo, because Aribo was good the weekend. And then obviously Dibbling, Archer off the left. And we got to talk about him. Oh no, actually, when he come on, he was brilliant. He was outstanding. It's hard to ignore what he's done in Europe. And he definitely gives us another option coming off the bench or starting in games, in my opinion. So let's rate the players. The goal was good from Archer. He took the goal really, really well. But we weren't good enough to keep hold of that lead. So I popped on your screen the flash score ratings from both teams for the game. So Aaron Ramsdale got a 6.1. For me, I give him an 8. Yeah, he lets 3 in against his old team. He gets a rounding applause from the fans. They love him. He was brilliant. Manning at left back got a 6.7 here on flash score. I am going to give Ryan Manning an 8.5 out of 10. I thought he was magnificent. He done well. Jan Bednarik only got a 6.6. 8.5 for me. I thought he was brilliant. He got booked for a silly booking, but he was brilliant. Harwood Bellis, I'll stick with a 6 and give him a 6. I still think he's adapting to the Premier League. I really do. And I still think with his range of passing and the way he can play football, if we want to start going a bit more quicker into the front man and bypassing midfield a bit, he's the man to do it because his distribution of passing. Siguara took a bit of criticism at the weekend, and I think he's been one of our best players this season, but he didn't have a very good game at the Emirates, unfortunately. He was at fault for the third goal. But all in all, he's had a really good season up to now, but I'll stick with the 6.5 that Flash Score had given him. Downs in midfield had a tough day. He's still adapting to playing at this level. 6.5, I'll give him a 7. I don't think he was a 6.5, a 7 for me. Give me your thoughts in the comments box below. Joe Aribo, 6.8. I would give him a little bit more than a 6.8. I give him an 8 out of 10. I thought his performance in the second half was brilliant. Everything good about us in the second half come through Joe Aribo. He was brilliant. Carl Walker-Peters, I give him an 8 as well. I thought he played really well, Carl Walker-Peters. An unnatural position to play in for him, playing as an inside left back, but he did it really well. I give him an 8 out of 10. Fernandez, 8 out of 10. He was brilliant. Fernandez, I give him an 8.5 out of 10. I thought he was brilliant. Ross Stewart, I give him a 5 out of 10. He didn't really do anything. Struggled to make any impact on the game, but he was always going to find it difficult. Against Saliba and Gabriel, they're two brilliant centre-backs. They're absolutely outstanding. But you've got to give a shout out to Dibbling, who did have a go at Calafiori and tried to go at him. I thought he was brilliant. Substitutes. Archer, 7.5 out of 10, scores a goal. I thought when Onuachu come on and he went to play on the left side, it suited us. I thought it's an option going forward. Onuachu come on, obviously, as well. He come on with 15 to go. Does a lovely step over. His touch is good. I thought his performance was really good. There's a little highlights reel on X, which is really good. So I give him an 8 out of 10. I thought he was really good when he come on. You couldn't fault him. And then Adam Armstrong, the only other player you can really rate, 6.5 out of 10. Flash score, I'd go with that and give him that. Charlie Taylor comes on for Yuki Sugawara in the 90th minute. It's really hard to give him a rating. So that is my player ratings. Give me your thoughts on that one in the comments box below. But I think there's some good performances from a lot of players, but there's still a lot to work on. So let's talk about some of the negatives as we're kind of coming to the end of the final word, because I don't want to go on for too long. I think the biggest takeaway from the 7 games, and I think anybody my age, 42, getting a bit old now, but I think everybody in my age bracket, when I read forums and I talk to fans that I know, that I've grown up with, everybody's of the same conclusion. If we continue to play the same football we're playing, we will give teams opportunities and we will leak goals. And inevitably that will get us relegated because we won't be good enough in both boxes. We have to be far better around our 18-yard box, but we have to be far better in the opposition's 18-yard box as well. And that is the be-all and end-all for me. We need to transition back to front quicker. We have to stop gifting opportunities, and that is a lot about playing slow, pedestrian football out of the back. And people will give me a bit of stick for that, but it is a little bit too slow at times. It needs to be quicker. It needs to move through the lines a lot quicker, like Bournemouth do, like Brighton do. Brentford are totally different opposition, a different way of playing. They play long. They just go, boom, try and find the front three. Look, we have players to play a different way if Russell Martin wants to play a different way. But my big question to you, Southampton fans, is will he play a different way? Yes or no? Get involved in the comments box below. I want your opinion. Will the manager look to play a different way? I think to get results and to churn out results, you have to be defensively really, really strong. You have to be physical. You have to win your duels, and you have to be tight and hard to beat. Secondly, you have to show massive team spirit and commitment. And when you've got a team like Southampton, when you're not blessed with the players that other Premier League teams have, you have to show 110% in every single game. Every game. You cannot give any less. We did that. We didn't give enough at Bournemouth. We got beaten. We didn't give enough at Forest. We got beaten. And that's where it lies. You have to give 110%. Man United, they're a class outfit, usually. And they've got a lot of better players than us. Yeah, they're struggling in the Premier League. But you have to be better over 90 minutes and never give up. Luton did it for periods last season and it got them results. And then finally, you have to be really good in the other 18-yard box. We've got the players in the final third to be quite good. Fernandez, Dibbling, Archer, Onuachu, and then you've got Silamana coming back from injury. Surely, while he's on the books and he's at the club, he gives you an option. You've got Ryan Fraser, Adam Armstrong. I've named 6 there that would all give you options in the final third. I know Stewart's injured now and is going to miss a period of time. Brereton Diaz is down the pecking order. A strange signing, but he's in those players that can play in those wide positions. So there are loads of options, and I think there are ways that we can hurt teams, but we have to stop making mistakes. Get involved in the comments box below. Have we got enough in the final third to win games at this level? And do you think what do you think? What is your ideal 11? What's your ideal 11? And what do you feel will get a result against Leicester City at St Mary's in 2 weeks' time. I want your thoughts on that. And finally, before we finish up today's show, we need to look at the Premier League table. Where does that leave things as we go into the second international break of the season so far? After 7 games, Wolverhampton Wanderers, they find themselves bottom of the Premier League with 1 point from 7 games. The same as Southampton, 1 point from the 7 games. But their goal difference is there is just one difference. Their minus difference is 12, ours is minus 11. In 18th place is Crystal Palace, who had a surprisingly slow start to the season under Oliver Glasner. They have 3 points, don't have a win, but they do have 3 draws to their name. Ipswich Town, who were really poor against West Ham in game week 7, they have 4 points. They've picked up the 2 draws, an encouraging result at home against Aston Villa, followed up by a really disappointing result down in London against West Ham United. And then they face Everton, who are just above them in 16th place, in the next game, in game week 8. So a massive game for Ipswich Town after the international break. And it'll be a game that they will really need to win. It's a game at home as well. Leicester City in 15th position take on Southampton in 19th at St Mary's in what's a must-win game for Southampton. And then in 14th, unbelievably, you have Manchester United under Eric Ten Hag with just 8 points on the board after 7 games. And the Man United fans are absolutely scathing of their manager right now. A board draw with Aston Villa at the weekend. And then Bournemouth sit in 13th position with 8 points as well. I would say it's a fairly decent start for Bournemouth, you would have to say. So that is how things look in the Premier League table. And what I will do is we'll look at the fixtures ahead of the next round of fixtures after the international break, and we'll pull out the key fixtures after this international break. So they are as follows. Saturday the 19th of September, we return with Spurs, who were beaten after being in front down at Brighton and Hove Albion yesterday. They take on West Ham United with pressure building on them. Their London derby there, 12:30 kickoff. It's Fulham Villa, the big one, like I said, between Ipswich and Everton. Man United take on Brentford at Old Trafford. Massive game for them. Newcastle take on Brighton. It's Southampton versus Leicester City at St Mary's. Bournemouth take on Arsenal at the Vitality Stadium. And then Wolverhampton Wanderers, who are below Southampton in the table at the moment, take on Manchester City. It's then Liverpool-Chelsea. That's the mouth-watering tie in the Super Sunday clash at Anfield. And then Monday Night Football sees Nottingham Forest take on Crystal Palace at the Forest Ground. And that is the Monday Night Football live on Sky Sports. And then the Friday night after the Monday night, on Sky Sports again at the King Power Stadium, it's Steve Cooper's Leicester City who take on Nottingham Forest. And that's as far as I'm going to look in terms of fixtures that are up and coming for everybody in the Premier League. I want all your thoughts in the comments box below. How does your team fare if you're not a Southampton fan after the international break? And what are your expectations in the next block of fixtures before the next international break? I will be back on the Football Martin channel in the coming weeks before the next round of fixtures with the Premier League relegation scrap. I'm going to be chatting to fans, hopefully from Leicester, Wolves, Palace, Southampton, ahead of the next round of fixtures. How's things faring at their clubs and why have they had such a disastrous start to the season? Hopefully going to kick that off with a Leicester fan later on this week, followed up by a Wolves fan at the weekend. Thank you all very much for joining me here on the Football Martin channel. I hope you're enjoying my content. And if you are enjoying my content, please do smash a like on my video, subscribe to my channel, and you won't be disappointed with the content I'm putting out because it's coming thick and fast, week in, week out. Thank you very much for joining me. Join the debate, get involved in the comments box below and have your say. And I will get involved and I will reply to as much as I possibly can. Thank you very much for tuning in, and I'll see you again soon in another video.